Each and every day, we are presented with wonderful opportunities which cross our path. Opportunities of grace for us to be able to share and reflect with others the wonderful glory of the faith we have been given. It's through these opportunities of grace that the people we meet along the road, at work, in school, have the opportunity to encounter the risen and glorified Christ. We are bridge builders of encounter. We are bridge builders to enable for that person an encounter with Jesus Christ. And this image of the bridge builder is something which I've been reflecting upon and praying a lot about recently. St. Teresa of Avila, one of my patron saints, used to say, "Christ has no body but yours, no hands, no feet but yours." Aren't these such wise words of wisdom from somebody from so long ago, still applicable to today? Today's meditation then on that gospel passage provide us with like a catalyst for reflection upon this. It prompts us to look closely at these opportunities of grace which present themselves to us each day. Prompt us to take a step back, perhaps, to examine our own consciences and to ask ourselves, have we let opportunities of encounter pass us by? When we reflect upon the rich man, named in tradition as Dives, we are prompted to consider how we are called to share those good things that come our way with those in similar situations to the character of Lazarus in our gospel, who we are told would have the dogs lick the sores from his body. Quite evocative imagery we are presented with, isn't there? The gospel today, which we have just heard, shows us vividly that each and every one of us is profoundly connected together. Each of us is entwined with the other, and so each of us matters. In the Queen's speech to the nation and to the world back at the start of our lockdown a bit years ago, the Queen reflected upon this togetherness. She reminded us quite profoundly of the fruits of our communion with each other, the fruits of our common union, of our coming together, of our togetherness. And we only have to go back to the scriptures, to the moment of creation, to be reminded that we are made for relationship. We are made for each other. We are made to connect together. We are made fundamentally for the well-being and the upbuilding of each other. And we can see then, can't we, that things begin to go wrong when we try to cut ourselves off, when we try to untangle ourselves from each other, where we try to isolate ourselves, keep everything close to us. Think of the parable in the Gospels elsewhere, of that farmer who, when he had a good crop, built bigger barns to keep everything to himself. In those moments, following the example of that farmer, keeping everything close, we can neglect the reality that it is in giving that we receive. The church in modern times, and I'm thinking particularly since the Industrial Revolution, has encouraged us to stop and to reflect seriously upon this, upon how we are connected together, upon the reality that we are all meant to be together. In the 20th century in particular, the development of the principles of Catholic social teaching provide us with what we could call like a framework for prayer and action. And Catholic social teaching is a wonderful framework upon which opens up before us the opportunity for dialogue. Dialogue between the gift of faith we have received from our parents, from our family, that gift of faith which is implanted in our souls at our baptisms, and the way in which we are called to live out that baptismal vocation in our action. How we are to live out those opportunities of grace which present themselves before our paths each and every day. And while in Catholic social teaching there are lots of principles, lots of foundations, it begins with the foundational premise that each and every one of us, without exception, made in the image and likeness of God, has a unique dignity. And this dignity is a wonderful gift which all of us share in equal proportion to each other, without exception. It's what we could call our common humanity. It is the fact that we hold this dignity with each other in equal proportion. It's something which is a universal, isn't it? Something which passes religion, creed, culture. Allows us to accept in our hearts the reality that we are created by God and that we are infinitely loved by God. And so, even by looking at just a small part of Catholic social teaching, we can see how this is reflected and of benefit to us in today's Gospel of Dives and Lazarus. And of course, we know, don't we, from our own experience, for personally perhaps, as well as the experience of the wider world, what happens when that dignity becomes unbalanced, when that dignity is misplaced for lots of people within our society. And the challenge that we face is sadly that we do live in a world which lives like the character of Dives to the detriment of Lazarus. And there are so many within our society, not just at the global level, but locally as well, who find those same dogs licking the sores which have appeared through neglect or indifference, who find even the crumbs from the rich man's table to be something which is hard to come by. There are many for whom those principles of Catholic social teaching are but mere fantasies, so far away from reality, something totally unattainable. All of us are challenged to continue to reflect upon the signs of the times and to reflect upon these signs in light of the gospel message. We are called to transform the gift of faith that we have received from something theoretical into a lived-out experience. And we are very graced and blessed in our community that there are elements within our society who have responded so generously to being the change, to rebalancing that misbalance in dignity. Here in our parish, for example, our continual contribution to the food banks, week in, week out, month in, month out. I was saying last night that I went into the St. Non's room in St. David's on Thursday or Tuesday, and I tripped over a bag for the food bank, went flying, went everywhere. Would have created £250 if someone would be watching. As well as those food banks, we have those continual donations to our charitable organisations like the SVP, who do outstanding work in the ongoing mission within the community, to those most vulnerable on our peripheries. A testament to our desire to promote the common good, an aspect of Catholic social teaching. To share our wealth with those who are most vulnerable. As well as this within our community, we are so blessed to have many people who are able to contribute at a different level, at a political level. Those people in local government as well as those in national government positions who are helping to add voice to this dialogue that will bring about a change, a better world. The end of our gospel today speaks of those prophetic voices, those voices urging us to be the change, to change our hearts. Even today, those prophetic voices are speaking directly to us. They are crying out. These voices are the voices of Jesus himself. Christ has no body but yours, no hands, no feet but yours. Amen.